Welcome to Toffee TV. It is 3 talking points. Everton 0, Arsenal 0 at Goodison Park today. Horrible game. Real low quality from two of England's greatest clubs. But what can you do? What can you do? Let's begin with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I thought he's been absolutely brilliant in the last few games since Duncan Ferguson took over. And Dom's been, his form's gone up a level. I think he's been superb. That Chelsea game, Duncan's first game, he scored 2 goals, was absolutely brilliant. United, Leicester the other night. And today you could tell he was knackered, Dom. You could tell he was running, the energy levels were low, but I thought he still put in an incredible shift. Still won his headers, was working hard for the team, linking the play. And I think that, when you get a response like that from a young player and he's willing to work hard and learn, and you can see the progress, I think it's a real good indication that he's got more to give, more for his ceiling. I think a while ago I was worried he didn't have the aggression side of the game. He's getting that now. He can run in behind, but his ability in the air is fantastic, and maybe something we need to utilise a little bit more, and maybe something that Duncan can work on as well, getting him involved in the box, arriving for these headers and stuff, because outside the box wins everything. Link up plays get much better. But I just thought he really has put a shift in over the last 4 games. He's worked his socks off for Everton, and he's looking, every inch the Premier League player now. So I have to say, well done to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, well done to Duncan Ferguson. I thought he was brilliant today. So yeah, let's see what happens moving forward. But he's certainly changed a lot of people's minds about whether whether he was good enough to do the job. Secondly, it's Duncan Ferguson. I'm going to talk about him because it was his last game today as caretaker manager. He's finished his run unbeaten. A run that's seen him have Chelsea, Manchester United, Leicester City and Arsenal. 4 tough games, 4 of the toughest games you could probably get. I know today Arsenal weren't as strong as they can be, but neither were we. But to come out of those games unbeaten, okay, Leicester City in the Carabao Cup, we lost the penalty shootout, but in the game we drew. 5 points out of 9 in the league from those 3 fixtures. 3 tough fixtures. What can you say? I think he's changed some people's minds about some people who maybe question what he did. I think he's given us that fighting spirit back, the belief back. He's made the team more resilient. He's on the touchline barking orders at the team and getting them. And I think the only thing that stopped us winning today really was energy levels. You could see quite clearly in his team selection today that he wanted some fresh legs back in there. I think had we not played Leicester City on Wednesday, I think Leighton Baines plays today. Luca Dean's played clearly not fit. You could tell when he was taking the corners, he wasn't fit. He didn't want to put his foot right through the ball. He took a free kick. He didn't really lift anything. So he done well and played within himself, Luca. He worked hard, but you can see normally he's freer than he was today. I think Gylfi Sigurdsson's been ill all week and apparently yesterday didn't look like he was even going to make the squad and has played 90 odd minutes in there and done well. Fabian Delph's only done light training and play. So players have gone in and given everything for Duncan, and that I think that's a great indication. If you can get a reaction from first team players like that, and you seen them at the end, Delph's hugging him and everything, and it wasn't because we've drawn the game, it was just an appreciation of what he's done, and the fans have given him a brilliant send off for as a caretaker manager. He's obviously part of the new manager's backroom team, so that's great. But I just thought it's been great to see Duncan given that opportunity. And I think what will happen, in my opinion, how I kind of see it now, is that when the next manager is chosen, Duncan Ferguson will certainly be in the conversation for that, because he's proved he can do it. So I think that's a good thing. I think it's good for the fans. I think it's good for Duncan. I think it's good for the club if we can have a progression. But I just thought it was worth mentioning because I think he's done a brilliant job in tough circumstances as well. Having 8 players out some games from that first team squad is difficult, and he's and he come up. He's done his trademark sub to sub today. But 100% the right decision. Cenk Tosun was very poor, to say the least. and it was the right decision, but there you go. And then finally, and probably the most important point, is Carlo Ancelotti. Everton have a new manager. Carlo Ancelotti was installed as the Everton manager. He meets the press on Monday. He was in the stand, seeing him pictured with Marcel Brands. He was sat in between Bill Kenwright and Farhad Moshiri today at Goodison. He will have had a lot of food for thought watching that. You know, it wasn't a good performance. It lacked energy. But in some respects, it's good for him to see that the poor aspects of it, I think, really, because it'll give him a thought process of what needs to really improve. I heard Mason Holgate on the radio coming home in the car, talking about the players are excited to work with him. He's won everything and he won't need to earn anyone's respect and this, that and the other. You know, and there was a real upbeatness about Holgate, and I think every player will respond to that. They've responded to Duncan. He's kind of give us that bit of fight and spirit back. And the fans, okay. I thought the atmosphere was poor today at time, well, for large parts of the game, compared to the Chelsea game a couple of weeks ago, which was also a 12:30 kickoff. But that's the way it is. But what Ancelotti will bring is that experience, you know, and a cool head, and he's won everything in the game. So hopefully that tactical awareness and that calmness with Duncan Ferguson's attitude, passion and ability to get a reaction off players, hopefully that'll work together. And Duncan can be a sponge and soak up everything he can from working with a world-class manager. It's a big challenge for Carlo Ancelotti. He's working with much less quality players than he has before, or certainly his last few jobs. But he's a world-class manager, so it's up to him to prove he's a world-class manager and get this team and these players, improve each player and get Everton fighting for Europe, because that's what his remit will be, you know. And we can dream of Champions League and all that. It seems a million miles away at the moment, but teams can do it. Look at Leicester City. So there you go. Big news today for Everton Football Club. Carlo Ancelotti installed as the Everton manager. He was there to watch probably the worst game for a while at Goodison Park, but Everton didn't lose it, and that's something to build on. So he begins on Monday. And it's exciting times. You've got to be excited. If you're not excited when you've got Carlo Ancelotti as your manager, then you're probably never going to be excited. But there you go. Make sure you check out the match reactions. Merry Christmas. Enjoy your Christmas. Have a fantastic time. Give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. And if you want more videos, join us over on Patreon. Have a great Christmas. See you later.